And the next one we have Shraddha Amith. She is focused, dedicated, and an inspiring personality who, before taking over Kshemavana, was an ardent social worker. Shraddha continues to ensure sustainable development and has become a pioneer of progressive initiatives aiming at women empowerment through her ideas and activities. Okay, come on over. Could we have a round of applause for the ladies? And we have Kriti Yadav. So Kriti Yadav is certified holistic nutritionist from AFPA USA and plant-based athlete coach. She is also founder of cookclean.com and describes herself as clean eating evangelist who promotes a whole food, plant-based lifestyle to lead a healthy and sustainable lifestyle. There you go. Rajeena Shahin. We have Rajeena Shahin, and she's with over 18 years of experience working across renowned brands and agencies for brand building and communication strategies. Rajeena Shahin has found her calling as head of marketing at Akshay Kalpa Organic. From encouraging conversation about the origin of food or spearheading cleanliness drives, Rajeena has always led by example, passionate about sustainable living. She also advocates for clean eating and its benefits at various forums. Welcome, Rajeena. And then we have Dr. Tausif Tangai Buhari. He's a doctor, and he's currently the medical director and general manager at Noura AI-enabled health screening. Doctor has profound love for teaching and has special interest in disaster medicine. He has passionately practiced and propagated the specialty of emergency medicine for the last 18 years. Apart from being a doctor, he was also a radio jockey for 10 years, hosting primetime show every day. Okay. Could I also have a chair, please? Thank you. I don't mind standing. I'm quite tall, so you guys can always see my head. I guess. Hi. Oh, thank you. Moms and growing families. Now, who thinks nutrition is important? Yes. And who thinks we ignore it quite a bit? Yes, I mean, to a certain extent, right? We try to be conscious, but once we see those jalebis and those cake, we want to like our brain goes somewhere else. So we're going to just get a bit more aware, a bit more mindful about it. Why? Because moms are the ones who are putting food on the table. So our family's health lies with ours. So, Dr. Shahin, you've been in this industry for so long. So, what's your take on lifestyle, nutrition, and how it's so interconnected?
Basically, I've talked about my own experience before getting into the field of nutrition. I took a break after my daughter was born.
And keep it a bit closer.
Yes, my daughter was born, and I was sitting at home and doing a lot of other work. And as doctor said, optimizing one's health is not just about your career or just your whatever you're doing. It's also about the overall aspect of things. I was actually good at overall aspect of things as a mother, taking care of the daughter, but I kind of ignored my own health. I started putting on weight, and I had bad energy, and it was kind of very bad depression. To a level where I had to take medications for getting sleep, because there was a huge conflict between me as a mother, me as a career woman, because I was not able to kind of get into my career or wanting to do what I wanted to do actually. So that was a huge thing. So which gave me the understanding that I need to change my lifestyle. I started with nutrition. I started with changing my eating pattern, then eating pattern to sleep to relationship. At time, I was not having friends. Once I tried, because I wanted to go out very badly. My child was around 8 months old. My MBA friends from Bangalore, they all had a nice party. They didn't invite me because I am a small kid. I mean, that kind of gave me a thing that, I need to connect with more mothers. I started connecting with mothers, and then I realized that it's not just about that. You also need to balance overall aspect of lifestyle, nutrition, your sleep, your, connectedness, meaningful social connectedness. And he said, there should be something which we need to be doing on a day-to-day basis to fine-tune our thoughts. Our thoughts is the nutrition for our brain. So that also will be, it's very important. It's all interconnected. So that is something I felt, to change my profession from a clinician to a nutrition intervention clinician.
That's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. And we've all been there, right? We've had the same experiences for sure. I think each one of you, I've had too. So with Shraddha, and who knows, like Kshemavana, so they have this center called Kshemavana, which is a retreat wellness center, and I was there recently, and oh my god, it was absolutely fantastic. They shut my brain down literally to go like into relaxation mode. And I'm sure like in your, with what you do with Kshemavana, you would have seen a lot of people who come there to recover from all the damages they would have done to their own mind, body, and soul too, because there are yoga and there is detox with food, and nutrition is a huge thing that you guys focus on. So do you want to say something about that?
Hello everyone, and I'm really happy to be here with all of you. So, Kshemavana is essentially a naturopathy and yogic institute, and it is purely naturopathy. So the idea behind naturopathy or nature cure is that our body has an innate ability to heal itself. We have all the tools required to overcome any problems or any diseases that we might have. The only thing is we need to enable our bodies to do that. So I'm sure as the discussion has been going since morning, as mothers, especially in India, in the Indian mindset, we have a tendency to put ourselves at the back of the priority list. Our families come first, our children come first, and our sleep, our food, everything takes a back seat. I'm sure we all have seen a situation, we are happy with the leftovers at home. We are really not cooking for ourselves. We are cooking for everybody else in the family but ourselves. So that is the situation that we often face. So at Kshemavana, what we try to do is more than a curative process, we try to build up a preventive and a nutritive process, in the sense a nourishing process where we try to change your lifestyle, or rather teach you tools or teach you a process wherein you can take care of the body, include healthy habits and include a healthy food lifestyle, include better practices which we can continue for an entire lifetime. So that is the concept behind the center.
That's awesome. I think it's like being consciously aware of everything that we're doing, and that's wonderful. Thanks for being here. And with Kirti, her company's called Cook Clean, and just the name itself says it, right? Like you cook clean. That's a great name. So do you want to say something about like your tips for women to cook clean, and also like even with children to hide those vegetables in, and they're so like picky with their stuff, and even for ourselves. So some quick points on that.
Sure. So my name is Kriti, and first thing that are the laddus given. Cool. So now, so I don't talk without feeding. So that's my venture. It's about clean eating. That's called Cook Clean, which stands for Kitchen You and Kriti's Clean Eating Journey. It started a few years back when I was struggling to make good food for my daughter, because I hated cooking before that. And finally I started making these good food because the nutrition was in my mind. And after her birth, I lost almost 28 kgs of weight following a plant-based lifestyle. When that happened to me, and people started turning back and saying, you have lost weight, what are you doing? So that made me realize that, okay, something is happening in me, so then let me just figure out what is happening, and I became a certified nutritionist. Then I started my venture, which is into clean eating, and the message which I want to promote is that healthy food is not boring. It can be made tasty, and that's what I do. And now coming to the question that we mom always, take back seat because we always take care of the family. The reason is long back, not even long back, just a generation back when our mothers were there, India was economically growing. The mothers used to think one thing, let me feed my child first because there might not be enough food. And I have seen this in my family happening. Now we moved out from that, all of us are earning, women have started earning, but I think the subconscious mind took that same information. Now only the mindset has changed that we can earn, but let me feed my child first because I don't have time. It's one meal that I'm cooking, so let me just give it to my child. So mothers, what are you doing? One, to yourself, and second, you're passing on that same message subconsciously to your daughter especially. Still in India, we pass on that message, so please don't do that. I'll speak in Hindi. उसका जूठा खाना आप मत खाइए, क्योंकि अगर आज आपने ये किया तो कल को आपकी बेटी भी वही करेगी. So don't do that. I don't do that. In fact, when my daughter was born, I used to eat first, because if I don't eat, I will not have patience to feed because I know my child is going to take 1 hour to eat. So irrespective of my in-laws, have they eaten or not, my husband, has he eaten or not, I used to sit quietly and eat first so that I have energy to feed my daughter and rest of the family. That's the only message I want to say. Please eat first, take care of your health, then with that happy mind and happy soul, you can just pass on that energy to everyone.
Great message, Kriti. Who has heard of the word the hangry? You know what hangry is? And we moms are constantly hangry, right? Because we forget to eat. We're so busy cooking and trying to eat, and we're always like sometimes snapping, and we're like, oh, wait a second, maybe I'm just hungry. And our kid's not gonna tell us. We gotta tell ourselves. And we have Vachna, and with another topic is like about organic and inorganic is a huge thing, because what we put in our body has consequences, either for good or for worse. So what's your take on that? Because for moms, a lot of them are so particular what goes into their, on the table. So.
Yeah, so I work for Akshakalpa Organic, which is an organic dairy brand. So one thing that we keep talking about with our customers and within the organization is that with more and more of us moving away from the source of food, with more and more of us moving away from villages and to the cities, there is a disconnect that has happened between us and food. We don't understand how food is grown. We don't see it, right? And when we don't see it, we don't know what's going into it. You can go to a supermarket, there are thousands of options today, but how many of those are really healthy, we don't know, right? So at Akshakalpa, we have this thing called the Good Food Movement, where we try to connect people to the source of food. We've mobilized over 10,000 of Akshakalpa customers to come to our farm, which is about 180 kilometers from Bangalore, for them to come and spend 2 days at the farm to see how vegetables are grown, to see how cows should be taken care of, to see how the food the cow eats is taken care of. So when you understand it at that deep level, we'll all start asking the right questions about food. We'll all start asking what has gone into my food, and when we start asking those questions, we'll start feeding ourselves healthy food and our families too. So yeah, that's one thing I would like to say. The other thing that we see, which is phenomenal with the Akshakalpa customers, and we did this research and we figured that earlier I think as mothers we thought our job is to cook great food and give it to our kids, right? We thought our job was primarily in the kitchen. But now more and more mothers spend phenomenal amount of time researching the ingredients that go into that food that they're cooking, right? Like the amount of time, energy, effort they put into doing that is absolutely amazing. So I think there's a little bit of labor of love happening over there as well, right? In choosing the right ingredients, we're doing right by the family. So that is a great thing. So I think these would be, some of the things to sort of just take back as far as organic food is concerned. We have to understand it from the source.
right? And nowadays with moms being so busy, a lot of them are going more into like with frozen food. I think that's penetrating. I think in India it's still in the beginning phase, but like in US, all we see like the frozen food. And I go to check out and I see moms with like probably half the cart is full of frozen food because there's no time. And one thing with moms here, like in our country, is just to like hold on to certain tradition and to do more home cooked food and to stick to what we learned from our older generation.
We are a fresh market. India is a fresh market. India won't. Yeah.
I know, which is great. That's good. That's why I'm like, I think it's also empowering mothers because sometimes we get into that zone where like, quick and easy, fat, but then there's consequences, long-term consequences. And talking about that, Dr. Thao said, like you must have seen with all your screening. So what they do is like, maybe you could explain what you guys do with early health screening. When disaster strikes, that's when the whole family goes into choice, like, oh, wish we did certain things differently, wish we probably didn't consume that or avoided this or maybe eat more of that. But sometimes the wish doesn't come true and the time cannot come back. So maybe you can talk more about that.
Thank you, and first and foremost, thank you for inviting me to this forum. All you super moms, I think it's very inspiring for all of you to be here and include me here. I feel privileged.
Yes, the only man, the hero here.
Thank you.
And another that he'll be talking soon, and so more.
Yes. Right. So we talked about some lovely interventions that all of you are doing, both mentally, in the food you eat, and the rejuvenation therapies that you do. But think of Noura like the exam that you write at the end of a year of preparation at school or college. So you're preparing, you're thinking you're doing the right preparation, the right health practices you're adopting, and then at the end of the year, how do you know that you did a great job? That's why Noura comes in, right? Noura is India's first, in fact the world's first artificial intelligence enabled health screening organization. Completely dedicated only to annual health checkups. We don't do treatment or like lab diagnostic, piecemeal. We don't do all of that. We do complete body health checkups. And we encourage people to come when they are healthy, when they are asymptomatic, not when they are suffering, not after the disease has already struck them. They are supposed to come right now, all of us in this room. We're feeling pretty good about our health. We are looking great, we are feeling great, but are we really doing great health-wise? This is what Noura tries to assess. And it is completely medical. We're using ultra-low dose CT scans and DEXA. It's not in the air. It's something that all is medically accepted, therapies that, or rather investigations that are approved across the world, FDA approved, and we put it together in one place. We did talk about how mothers put everybody else before themselves. It is very true in every Indian household, except for mothers who've just given birth or pregnant ladies, because then they have no choice. They have to put themselves before everybody else, because otherwise they're not able to take care of the baby that's inside or outside. But my wife is also equally guilty of this. Even in Noura, we find the same thing. We find 60 to 65% of people coming in for health screening are males. 30 to 35 are females. Out of that, only 5 to 10% of females choose to come by themselves. The remaining are coming because their spouses said, let's go for the health screening, which is what we would like to change. Like when in the airplane, when the pressure drops, when the oxygen mask falls down, you put it on for yourself first so that you can help as many people as you can. If you try to put for all your children and your husband and everyone, by the time it's your turn, you're already fainting, right? We have to avoid this. Women have to take charge. And I'll tell you why. If you look at cancers, the number one cancer in the world is breast cancer. But all cancers in one box and breast cancer alone in another box, that will still be higher. And it's an easily detectable disease very early on. India knows very well about breast cancer. Do you know what our survival rate is? 67%. That's it. Everywhere else in the world is 90%. Why are we lagging behind? Similarly for women, it's not just breast cancer, it's cervix, uterus, ovary, and then all the others. So that is why screening for women is very important. Just by screening, there is evidence that we can reduce the incidence of cancer by 2/3. 2/3. And let's forget cancer for a while. I'm not fear-mongering. Let's take heart attacks. Half of India's deaths occur because of heart attacks. Now, we always think heart attack means male. Men suffer heart attacks because women are protected by estrogen. I have news for you. Heart attack is the #1 killer for women also. As soon as your reproductive age group is done, risk of heart attack goes up. And osteoporosis, every gynecologist worth their salt will talk about bone weakness in women. The moment you lose your estrogen, the bone is going to go weak. You can start assessing this early. Let's say when you find it out at 60 or 70, what are you going to do about your bone weakness? Can you exercise much? Can you eat something that you like? Can you digest it? Can you spend time in the sun? Maybe, maybe not. But if you find out at 40, 50, you can definitely change things. You can definitely stay healthier, stronger. We see lovely women in the 70s and 80s coming in with really strong bones. And women in their 30s and 35s coming in with really poor muscle strength and bones, and because they're so stressed with everything that they're doing for everyone else but themselves. So Noura is where you come, get a full body health checkup, and 80 to 85% of the time, whatever we find out for you is reversible with lifestyle. Only 10 to 15% of the time you need to go to a doctor because we are into early detection. Heart attack takes 10 years to develop, but we find out in the 10th year. Similarly, cancers take 3 to 4 years, we find out in the 4th year. Why not identify it in the 1st year? That's where annual health screening comes in. I think I've already taken enough time.
So,
Thank you so much.
bottom line is prevention is cure, right? And nutrition, like food is medicine. That's the point we're trying to make here. So whether like we're so busy, just focusing on the children and thing, which is good, but also like take care of yourself and like your spouse and everything. So just to pre-screen